morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Tecla session. Depending on where you're joining us from, it may be afternoon or evening where you are. Thank you for joining us. It is yet another fantastic session of Tecla. And indicate for me if you can hear me clearly, please, either by chat or raise of hands. I want to be sure that everybody is hearing us clearly. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we'll move into it. We'll move a little bit quickly today. Tecla is run on the strength of our partners, MDoc, Making More Health, Boehringer Ingelheim, Ashoka, our own very, very efficient Veterinary Council of Nigeria, and it is supported by ECO projects. Today's agenda would include introductions, a brief about Farmalab, a pre-quiz just to test where we are at with our knowledge concerning today's event, and then the main event, which will be the lectures, open discussions for all participants, questions and answers, expert recommendations on the topic, further interaction, and then a post-quiz to close the event. So stay with us as we enjoy today's output. Now, a little bit about the 4 pillars of ECO. We use video conferencing technology to leverage scarce healthcare resources, and then specialists also share best practices with colleagues. This is a case-based learning and continuous monitoring of program outcomes. Now, please take note, while this is ongoing, Project Tecla Africa leverages the ECO model to collect registration, participation, questions and answers, chat comments and poll responses from all our programs. Your individual data will be kept confidential and handled by authorized personnel only. These data may be used for reports, maps, communications, survey, quality assurance, evaluation, research, and also to inform new initiatives. As you probably observed, this session is being recorded. We'll be sharing a PDF version of the slides after the session. A few more tips for you. Have your camera on. The facilitator will unmute you when you need to speak. Use the raise hand feature in Zoom when you want to speak, and kindly use the chat function for all of your questions. Okay, we're going to move over to Dr. Zainab Abdullahi to tell us a little bit about Farmalab for those of us who are here for the first time before we proceed. Thank you. Dr. Zainab, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Grace. Good morning. Hi, everyone. As introduced, my name is Dr. Zainab Abdullahi, and I serve as the Community Engagement Manager at Farmalab. Farmalab is an animal social enterprise founded in 2019 with the primary mission of enabling easy access to affordable animal health care in undeserved communities in Africa. Animal disease are the leading cause of losses to livestock farmers and pet owners, accounting for over 70% of the total damage. Unfortunately, the animal health system in Africa leaves little to be desired and goes a very long way to adversely affect these farmers and pet owners who are the lifeline of our local food system. At Farmalab, we have been able to combine our relevance as a major animal health care brand in the marketplace with our mission of ensuring easy availability, accessibility, and affordability of this animal health products and services across the country. We partner with local animal health professionals, mainly veterinarians, who partners with these local farmers, pet owners in building an inclusive system for sustainable animal health and disease prevention. We also foster a peer-to-peer network where access to regular animal health products, veterinary services, and pieces of training can be easily obtained, and learning at various levels of farmers' interaction shared. Summarily, we are enabling easy access to quality animal health across Nigeria and soon across Africa. Our Tecla stations are a partner between the largest privately held animal health company in the world, Boehringer Ingelheim and Ashoka, an organization designed to support social entrepreneurs using the Making More Health platform with the help of MDOC, our execution partners. Our Tecla sections move knowledge rather than people by utilizing digital technology like the video conferencing we're currently using on. It is our utmost desire that you find this session both useful and inspiring in your various chosen areas of specialty. Once again, I warmly welcome you to our ever-growing animal health community, where we drive absolute pleasure in helping you win. Please enjoy this session. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Grace.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Zainab. Thank you. We were mute at some point. We're going into the pre-quiz now. So join, participate, and let's see what we know about today's topic and interaction. Please check your mics and check your video cameras. Be sure that you are in appropriate settings for video if your video is turned on. And if you're not in appropriate settings, please turn off your video and turn off your audio as well. So we advise everyone to check, make sure that you are composed for a video function. Thank you so much as you check your cameras. Now the pre-quiz is on. Could we please participate and see what we know about today's discussion, the definition of emerging infectious diseases, which diseases are considered emerging infectious diseases. So let's engage and see what we get. The poll will be on for just a couple of minutes, and we'll take it down as soon as participation is optimum. Look through carefully and make your choices and give your answers and see how we do. Okay. We're yet to get full engagement and participation, so we encourage you to do that. It will help you with your flow as the lectures begin. Thank you for participating and for engaging. We already have an idea what today's topic is. So let's be guided as we take the poll. Thank you for your participation. Keep going. How much do you know about emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases? Keep going. The poll will soon go down. Keep going. Okay, thank you for participating. I think we still have a little bit of time before the poll goes down. Okay. Okay. I think the quiz will be taken down shortly so we can move into the main event for today. Okay, so today we'll be discussing emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, a ravaging threat to public health and global health security. We have two fantastic scholars who would be giving us the knowledge for the day. I would read the citation for Professor N.M. Simon, and then we can go into the lectures. Come with me. Professor N.M. Simon Ikechukwu obtained his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in 1991. He went further to obtain a Master of Veterinary Public Health degree from the University of Ibadan in 1999. He also holds a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of Calabar in 2002. He was awarded a Doctor of Philosophy in 2013 from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. He is a fellow, College of Veterinary Surgeons, Nigeria, Public Health Specialty 2018. He has a diploma in SMEs, Entrepreneurship and Innovation from the Galilee International Institute, Israel in 2015, and a certificate in molecular techniques from the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, University of Legon, Accra, Ghana in 2018. He also received a certificate in bacterial genomics using bioinformatics from Wellcome Genome Campus, Advanced Courses, and Scientific Conferences UK in 2018. His research focus is on epidemiology and foodborne infectious zoonotic diseases. Professor NM completed his NYSc in Ogun State in 1992 and worked in many organizations, including Turner Wright Limited, where he served as Territory Manager, Eastern Region until 2007. He is currently a tenured staff of the University of Abuja since February 2007. He is in the Department of Veterinary Public Health and Preventive Medicine, where he served as the pioneer head of department between 2011 and 2014. He was promoted to a professor of veterinary public health and preventive medicine in 2019. He was the Deputy Director of Entrepreneurship Center of the University of Abuja from 2014 to 2016 and a member of University of Abuja Teaching Hospital Board from 2014 to 2017. Professor NM has also served in several committees in the university. He was also the chairman, Nigeria Veterinary Medical Association, Abuja chapter from 2009 to 2013. He equally served as the Dean Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Abuja from 2023 to 2024. He is the current Dean of the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, University of Abuja. Professor NM has over 50 peer-reviewed journal publications, both internationally and locally. He has also attended and organized several conferences, workshops, and seminars, both locally and internationally. He has graduated over 10 postgraduate students. He also served as external examiner for both undergraduate and postgraduate students in different universities. He has also served as a consultant to many organizations, including Global Fund, Management Sciences for Health USA, Nolia Consult Nigeria, and Center for Agriculture, Food Safety and Preparedness, University of Tennessee, USA. Professor NM is the director of the Center for Infectious Zoonotic Diseases, Ecology, and Food Security. It is an NGO. He belongs to many professional bodies, including NVMA, SOSEH, NSPCA, CRWAD, ISVEE, etc. He received scholarly awards from STEB IoT Fellowship in 2010, the University of Abuja Fellowship 2011, and TED Fund IBR Grants 2017. He has many secularly awards from other organizations. He is happily married with children. I give you Professor NM Simon. Sir, you have the floor. Please take us into the lecture of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful presentation. I am so grateful that Farmalat invited me for this presentation. I thank you for what you are doing and what you stand to do. I feel proud to associate with you, Farmalat. Thank you so much. Yeah, the topic expected of me this morning is emerging and re-emerging diseases, a ravaging threat to public health and global health security. Yes, the world is a global village, we always say. And you see people traveling more frequently and at greater distances than in the past. So diseases can spread more rapidly and cause global epidemic. I will discuss my topic with this outline: background, definition of terms, factors contributing to emergence, examples of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, case study, bioterrorism, challenges, interventions, then prevention and control of emerging and re-emerging diseases. Then I conclude. Let's start with the background. The last 30 years have seen a rise in emerging infectious diseases in humans, out of which 70 to 75% are zoonotic, which means there is a relationship between these diseases in man and that of animal.
Prof, sir, sorry to cut you. I think there's an issue with your audio.
With my audio? Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, the network actually, it keeps glitching. Yes, but it's okay now.
Okay, I could go ahead, or could I start afresh?
You can proceed, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I was saying that the past 30 years witnessed a lot of rise in emerging infectious diseases. Mostly 70 to 75% of them are zoonotic, which means there is interrelationship between the diseases in man and that of animals. So as a result, many of the diseases that we now think of as distinctly human diseases, such as measles, smallpox, diphtheria, and all other ones, have jumped from animals to man. So since 1970, and about 40 infectious diseases have been discovered. So you can see in late 80s and the early 90s, HIV came on board and is still with us up to now. Then we talked about SARS. We know about Ebola. Even in Nigeria, we had a case of it when Patrick Sawyer from Liberia visited Nigeria and then brought Ebola. But Nigerian government was very alert, so they were able to stop the disease from further spread. Then we talked about avian flu, swine flu, and the rest. So high-threat pathogenic diseases have increased in recent years globally. That's what we are trying to say. So, and in 2007, WHO sounded a warning that infectious diseases are emerging at a rate never seen before. So it needs urgent attention. We have here the global burden of infectious disease. If you see this pie chart, you discover that 14.9 million of this infection, which is just about 25%, are caused by infectious diseases, of all the diseases that ravage man. According to Prayadashin Shanigan in 2023, that is the breakdown of what his research was. So the figure indicates that about 15 million of the 57 million animal deaths worldwide are due to infectious diseases. So it's a concern. So emerging and re-emerging diseases of zoonotic importance has caused and is still causing significant impact on public health worldwide. So this topic is very novel, and it's needed right now because of the ravaging nature of these emerging and re-emerging diseases. The World Organization of Animal Health, formerly called OIE, they are strongly committed to bringing its expertise to the international control of currently emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases, such as influenza and rabies. So, about 2/3 of emerging infectious diseases are zoonotic, which means they originate from animals, both wild and domestic. Next slide. Yeah. So if you check the next slide, we have a picture of animals in their own habitat and humans in their own habitat and the interaction. So man went to the wild in search of food, in search of whatever, and then brought animals home to domesticate them. So in the process of this interaction, there are good aspects of this interaction, which is called healthy interactions. These healthy interactions include food for humans, animal use in terms of hunting, and in terms of pets, and entertainment, and all whatnot. But there is another segment of this interaction which is not good. It's called unhealthy interaction. So this is what we call zoonosis, because they brought along themselves diseases that are not originally known to man. So by this interaction, these diseases emanate, and we call them zoonotic diseases. So these are diseases which are transmitted between humans and animals. The next slide. So zoonosis, by definition, are diseases and infections which can be naturally transmitted between vertebrate animals and humans. These vertebrate animals could include both wild and domestic. And these diseases are shared between animals and man, according to WHO. That's the definition. Now let's go to the definition of emerging infectious diseases, which is one of the main topics of discussion today. So it is defined as a new infection resulting from the evolution or change of an existing pathogen or parasite, resulting in a change of host range, vector pathogenicity, or strain, or even the occurrence of a previously unrecognized infection or disease. For example, Ebola, SARS, and COVID, which we are very conversant with. So the summary of this definition I gave above can be discussed under 3 headlines. Number 1 is that includes those diseases whose incidence in human or animal has increased during the last 2 decades, 20 years, or which threaten to increase in near future. Then the second aspect is that it involves newly appearing infections in the population. These are diseases that are not known at all in the population, appearing for the first time. And then the third point is that they are spreading to a new geography, new geographical setting. They are known here, but are not previously known elsewhere, but are now spreading to those areas. So these are virtually the definition of emerging infectious diseases. What of re-emerging infectious diseases, REID? So a re-emerging infectious disease is considered as an already known disease that either shifts its geographical setting or expands its host range or significantly increase in prevalence. Example are avian influenza and rabies. So there's a sub definition to this, which includes that there are diseases which are previously controlled either by chemotherapy or antibiotic use, but now have developed antimicrobial resistance and are often appearing in epidemic form. So that's another aspect of the definition of re-emerging infectious diseases. These 2 definitions continue to overlap, and they are always taken together. In summary, we can say that these are infections that are caused either by apparently new agents or by known agents that occur in by these new agents. For example, we have Ebola, disease, disease, SARS, and they go. Basically, these are the definition of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. So how are these diseases transmitted? They can be transmitted. They are contacted one by direct touch or contact, or through droplet spread. Droplet spread, maybe when you cough, instead of touching ground, it will just hit the person direct. For the direct spread. Or direct droplet spread. Then you have indirect.
Sorry to cut you, Prof, sir. Hello, Prof, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Which includes maybe.
Prof, sir, can you hear me, sir? Hello, Prof, sir. Hello, sir. Your audio is very poor, sir. I don't know if you can go back a few slides, maybe 2 slides back. If you can hear me, sir. Back end, could you please send a chat to Prof so that he can go back a few slides and then find better network settings? Thank you, back end. Please, let's give Prof a couple of minutes to rejoin us. Just give us a few minutes to sort out this audio glitch. I think it is from Prof's end. Thank you. We'll check back with Prof in about a minute or so. And Prof, if you can hear me, if you're able to get our message, once your network is better, please indicate to us. Or just resume, sir, from about 2-3 slides back. Thank you, sir. Okay, can you check with Prof now? Let's see if it's okay. And indicate to us, please, once you've confirmed that Prof's network is better and is back. Thank you. Okay, is someone reaching out to Prof, and can I know what the situation is so that we can take another step? I think we've actually lost Prof on the media chain there. Okay, okay. Prof has gone off. Prof has gone off. How about we wait about 2 minutes, a little more, and then if Prof is not yet back, we would go into the second speaker, and then we'll take Prof back on when the second lecture is over. But we'll actually prefer if you are patient with us and we wait for Prof to come back. Let's keep waiting so that we'll give Prof as much of the time to come back. Dr. Zainab, can you also help us get on communicating with Prof together with the media engineers so we can sort his network out? Thank you. Thank you, participants, for your patience. This will just take us a little while media gets to do this for us. Thank you for your patience. Let's take the opportunity to.
I'll probably suggest maybe we'll go on with our second speaker.
Okay, that's fine. If our second speaker is nearby, could he please begin to load while we read his citation? Dr. Sir, I hope that you're very close. Media, please indicate for me when you see Dr. Gabriel Omeza on the chain, so I'll know he's with us, and then, okay. So I'll proceed now to read citation for Dr. Omeza. Okay, is Prof back? Can we unmute Prof and see?
Hello.
Okay. Do you
I don't know. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Please,
sorry,
I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
Okay, sir. I think the network from your area is a bit low or down, maybe your bandwidth or something. So, but can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, sir. So from where you stopped, we were hoping you could go back a few slides. I don't know at what point you noticed you were not on it anymore.
Oh, okay. Did you get me a transmission?
Okay, so a slide before this one now.
Okay, a slide before transmission.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir. Is... Yes, just
right,
around here.
That's about talking about the common definition of.
Yes, sir. Just right here, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants.
Sorry for this interruption, please.
Thank you, sir.
So this, I said that the two definitions of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases do overlap, and then there could be a common definition, which is that these are infections that are caused either apparently by new agents or by known agents that occur in locales or species that previously did not appear to be affected by these agents ab initio. So examples include Ebola, SARS, Marburg, and Nipah viruses. So let's go to transmission. How are these diseases transmitted? Emerging and re-emerging diseases. They could be transmitted through direct or indirect contact. When we talk about direct contact, we mean through one-on-one contact or through droplet spread. Droplet spread means maybe when you cough, the cough will hit the other person directly without touching the ground. So it is called droplet spread. Then we have indirect transmission, transmission, which could be airborne, maybe through dust or droplet nuclei. In this case of droplet nuclei, the cough could have dropped on the ground and maybe wind blown it to distances before it gets to infect another person. Then you have vehicle-borne, which could be through food, through water, through fomites, and then through vector-borne, which could be biologic. That is, if propagation has taken place inside the vector, which is mostly arthropod, or it could be mechanical, when the thing bites you directly without any propagation going inside the vector. Then you have fecal oral route. That's the number one. Then vertical transmission. When we talk about vertical transmission, we mean generational transmission from parents to the offspring, mostly from mother, through either breastfeeding or through placenta, other, but that is virtually from mother to child. Then through consumption of contaminated food and water, this one comes under the same indirect transmission. So what are the factors that predispose to emerging and re-emerging zoonosis? I said here that there's no country is safe from these emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. Recall that I said that it's a global village, and people move up and down in short distances that have covered a long place, which originally you can't cover in days. So, and these factors could be addressed under the following headings: 1, agent; 2, host; and environmental changes. Let's take agent. The agent, which is which could be either bacteria or virus or parasites, these are the main things that cause these diseases. So it could be genetic or biologic. There are some factors, genetic factors that influence and predispose them to causing emerging and re-emerging diseases. So there is this we call microbial adaptation. So they have adaptive mechanisms which make them to invade the immune system of the host and then cause disease. There are genetic mutations. We know about H5N1, that is the influenza, that undergoes genetic shift and drift. Then you have recombinations, genetic recombinations involving SARS, COVID-19, and CoV-2, as the case may be. The resistance of vectors to pesticides, development of antimicrobial resistance. Example is MRSA bacteria. All other virulent, drug-resistant, and interspecies transmissibility of zoonotic pathogens are involved in this, according to Moss et al. 2012. Apart from the agent factor, then you have the host factor. Among them is population growth and movement. The population density is increasing by the day, and by so doing, it leads to overcrowding and leads to disease circulation among citizens. And then the movement, like I said earlier, movement of people has increased. Over small time, people could cover long distances. And by so doing, they are carrying along all these diseases to these places. Sexual behavior and drug use. People behave, there are a lot of issues concerning sexual behavior these days. We have bestiality, whereby a man will go and have a relationship with an animal. And then you know about this LGBT, different forms of behaviors that originally are not known to man. Then you have immune suppression. Due to activities, the immune system is suppressed for the host, so it opens the host to infection. Then handling of animal byproducts and waste, increased global trade in exotic food animals or animal byproducts. Then cultural anthropological norms. In fact, there are some norms that are very archaic. For instance, some people culture, they don't cook meat. They eat raw meat, and this can predispose to emerging and re-emerging diseases. Then food processing and handling. So these are basically the host factors that could predispose to these diseases. Then you have environmental, ecological changes, agricultural expansion, and modes of agriculture. The way we do agricultural cultivation and this day is not what it originally used to be. Then you have climate change, globalization of agriculture, irrigation, habitat destruction, deforestation and urbanization, pollution. All these are included in environmental factors. Then talking about climate change and extreme weather events. Climate change impacts wildlife population dynamics, and then the disease epidemiology. So in one way or the other, it affects them, and many other things could come along. Extreme heat expands habitats for mosquito, vectors like Aedes species that transmit yellow fever virus and dengue fever virus. Flooding and droughts increase populations of insect vectors and rodents, spreading these diseases such as malaria, yellow fever, Lassa fever, and leptospirosis. Then health changes in animal husbandry practices. Commercial production has led to importation of exotic breeds, bringing new diseases like foot and mouth disease. Industrial scale cattle production, houses leading to emergence animals in crowded markets. It allows interspecies transmission of virus like avian influenza. Then occupational diseases. Farmers, hunters, wildlife workers, veterinarians, pet traders, families with pets, butchers and abattoir workers are at risk of infection from emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases. So due to close contact to animals and their tissues and body fluids, they can mix with these diseases and then it gets transmitted. Then examples of these diseases are leptospirosis, brucellosis, capillobacteriosis, and all whatnots. Another factor is weak public health system. So poor disease awareness among animal owners and rural communities. Then deficiencies in disease surveillance, diagnostic facilities, healthcare infrastructure, and public health policies. Then shortages of vaccines, inadequate storage facility and logistics. All these cause emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. Wild meat, common in this area, recreational hunting and consumption of wildlife as a status symbol, then the increasing amount of human travel and trade. We've talked about it earlier. The changes in food supply chains. Food supply chains are lengthening and diversifying disease transmission and cross-contamination. Complex supply chains make traceability harder for officials to follow up quickly on any potential problems. Poorly managed informal wildlife and wet markets bring products along poorly regulated supply chains. Then political and social and economic factors. Poverty is a very big problem, especially in this developing world, and social inequality. They all predispose to diseases. International travel and commerce, deterioration in surveillance system, war, unrest, and overcrowding. In Nigeria today, we've got the problem of insecurity, which is almost bringing serious unrest in many parts of the country. So it causes problems. ID camps, overcrowding, all these cause emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases. You see this picture is a picture of wildlife market where they trade on wildlife market. And you see a lot of infection have been contracted through these processes. Here, you see people marketing wildlife. You see the owl on the other side, and many other ones. These are mainly found in China, India, and all other parts of this Asia. The examples of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. I took a picture that compiled the whole emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. In a nutshell, you can see them here. The red line shows newly emerging diseases, while the blue color shows re-emerging or resurging infectious diseases. The dark one shows the deliberate emerging. which means people deliberately engineer it. We're going to see that when we talk on bioterrorism. So this picture shows the whole examples we can find, in different parts of the world. Then we take a case study of Zika. Zika virus is a viral disease that was declared by WHO in 2016 as a public health emergency of international concern. So it is a viral infection transmitted through the bite of Aedes mosquitoes, and it is related to dengue fever, yellow fever, or West Nile virus. There was a concern in the developed world because of the threat that this could spread to Western Hemisphere, and it will become a pandemic. So symptoms are not specific, but it resembles that of other viral fevers, such as fever, headache, arthralgia, rash, and blood eyes. So it causes teratogenic effects, that is birth defects, especially microcephaly, small head. So there's no vaccine or antiviral drug to treat it. In 2017, Zika virus was identified in India, and it led to 3 observations. Number 1 is that it has low level of transmission. Number 2 is that it may lead to new cases in future, which makes it an emerging disease. There is no need to strengthen, there is need to strengthen surveillance. So these are the 3 observations from the identification of Zika virus in India in 2017. So this brings us to the topic of bioterrorism. We cannot discuss emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases without touching bioterrorism. And this bioterrorism is a terrorism that involves international release or dissemination of biological agents like bacteria, virus, or their toxins. Most of these agents are emerging and re-emerging infectious agents, like I said before. So CDC defined it as a deliberate release of agents by attackers that causes one or more of a variety of different diseases. So, and based on this, on the risk of national security, the agents could be A, B, and C. They are categorized into 3 subheadings. So many of these agents of bioterrorism are zoonotic in origin. So in fact, 5 of these top 6 category A disease agents designated as potential bioterror threats by the US CDC are zoonotic. And among this category A, they are described as high risk, which means they pose threats to national security and have ability to cause social disruption. Examples are anthrax, botulism, bubonic plague, that is Yersinia, smallpox. Smallpox is the only one that is non-zoonotic, and it has been eradicated for some time now. Then you have tularemia or rabbit fever. Then you have viral hemorrhagic fever, which is a group or family of viral fever. Basically, you have Vilofiride, and then which examples are Marburg and Ebola, and then you have Arenoviridae with examples as Lassa and Machupo. Please check all these spellings. Then category B, you have moderately easy to disseminate and result in low mortality. Examples are brucellosis, Q fever, Clostridium perfringens, etc. Then you have the category C. On that category C, we have these agents that can be engineered for mass dissemination. Examples are SARS, H1N1, Nipah virus, hantavirus, and most recently, COVID-19. We saw what COVID-19 did in the whole world. It came from small epidemic in China, it became a pandemic that claimed the whole world. The challenges, what are the challenges posed by these emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases? One is lack of coordination between health sectors. It's a very big challenge because the health sectors supposed to be multidisciplinary, And when these diseases occur, everybody seems to be running helter-skelter. You saw what happened during the Ebola, when there was mobilization from all quarters. Hello? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Then you have poor surveillance and reporting systems. Then disparities in human and animal health fields. The knowledge gaps across disciplines. Funding differences between human and animal health. Then cross-species transmission. Urbanization and population density. Increased human and animal contact and mobility. Then inadequate veterinary services. These are the challenges posed by these infections. Then you have livestock and husbandry practices, food safety and consumption habits, antimicrobial resistance, political and economic issues, climate change and environmental degradation, cultural practices and traditional medicine, illegal wildlife trade, wealth, healthcare infrastructure. Then interventions. Interventions that could be made includes establishing coordinated national surveillance between public health, veterinary, and wildlife agencies for early outbreak detection and collaborative response. Then secondly, that should be conducting of animal disease monitoring and interventions to high-risk areas at the nexus of wildlife, livestock, and human activity. Then improving laboratory capacity to rapidly diagnose and characterize novel zoonotic disease pathogens. Then conducting population-based serosurveillance to identify animal reservoirs and monitor disease spread. Then implementation of prevention, implementing prevention and preparedness plans for climate change related ecological shifts affecting zoonotic transmission. Then regulating livestock production practices and movement to reduce mixing of species from geographically distant locations. Then establishing and enforcing hygienic standards for animal product processing and marketing. Then conducting behavior change communication on zoonotic risks, targeting vulnerable populations. Then stockpiling vaccines, therapeutics, and protective equipment for pandemic threats. Then strengthening healthcare facilities, capacity for isolation and infection control. Prevention and control. How do we prevent these emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases? 1, safe water. 2, sewage treatment and disposal. Food safety programs, animal control programs, vaccination programs, public health organizations, biosecurity, policy development, One Health approach, collaboration, education and training, zoonotic disease surveillance and monitoring, risk assessment, outbreak investigation, research and data analysis, and then finally, risk communication. Conclusion. Zoonotic diseases impose a persistent public health burden in Nigeria, owing to complex interplay of ecological, agricultural, socioeconomic, predisposing factors in the face of weak veterinary and medical systems. So multi-sectoral strategies needed to address emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. Strategic priority should be accorded to prevention through a One Health approach before local outbreaks become national and regional catastrophe. Investment in robust integrated surveillance, outbreak response, capacity, livestock regulation, and community resilience offers the most cost-effective solution for averting potentially disastrous epidemics. With emerging infections likely to escalate under continuing anthropogenic, environmental, and climate changes, a enhanced systems perspective is imperative to understand and predict zoonotic disease drivers for targeted control and mitigation strategies. So, emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases are serious burden, and with public health interventions, we are sure we are going to conquer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. Okay, we're grateful, sir, for your presentation. Thank you so much. It is knowledge-packed, and please stay with us on the call. We'll come back to you for our questions and answers. I know that we have quite a number. While
Please,
our next
can I just
speaker...
take my questions and answer, because I am getting somewhere now.
Okay, back end, could you help us run through the chats and see what questions and questions have come in? And then if you have participants, if you have any questions, could you please indicate them quite very quickly so that Prof can take them? Back end, give us a view of the participants' chats and their notes. Okay. So we've been able to get quite a lot from this presentation. So please put your questions if you have any. Prof has indicated for us that these re-emerging diseases have been on the rise in the last 30 years, and we have about 25% of animal diseases that are infectious, and recorded 15 million deaths, animal deaths that are related to this. There have been unhealthy interactions that have led to zoonosis. We also have a keynote here. Re-emerging infectious diseases is a new factor and then new concept. And then all the factors that are causing them have also been outlined to us. Key interventions are required to be able to solve this problem as outlined. The likelihood of escalation is envisaged, so there is a need for us to act now. Those are some of the highlights from this very detailed lecture. So can we have your questions? Indicate by raise of hands, and then also leave your questions in the chat box. We don't see any questions coming in yet. We don't see any questions coming in yet. Prof, I think the participants are still trying to digest what we've learned and put their thoughts together.
Okay, because I have a meeting right now. Maybe I'll still come and rejoin. If there's any question, I'll answer it.
No problem, sir. We're very grateful. Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Have a good meeting, sir.
Sorry for the disturbances caused by network. Initially.
Not a problem, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're grateful to Prof. He has to move on. He might rejoin us shortly, so let's continue with the presentation. While our next speaker is getting ready, I'll just take his citation. Okay, so coming up next would be Dr. Gabriel Kehinde Omeza. He is currently an associate professor with the Department of Veterinary Public Health and Preventive Medicine at the University of Abuja, Nigeria. He is a distinguished veterinary professional who hails from Okehi local government area of Kogi State, Nigeria. He holds a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree, a Master of Science, and a doctorate, all in veterinary public health and preventive medicine from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. His academic and professional journeys have been marked by a commitment to advancing the fields of veterinary public health, epidemiology, and food safety. Dr. Omeza is a fellow of the College of Veterinary Surgeons of Nigeria, reflecting his expertise and dedication to veterinary medicine. His work focuses on the intersection of animal health, public health, and food safety, aiming at enhancing the well-being of both animals and humans through effective veterinary practices and policies. In his personal life, Dr. Omeza is married to Mrs. Patience Eki Omeza. a dedicated nurse with the Trauma Center of the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, who comes from Akoko Edo local government area of Edo State, Nigeria. Together, they embody a partnership that is committed to health and wellness in their respective professions. They are blessed with 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, to the glory of God. Taking the stage now for this wonderful event would be Dr. Gabriel K. Omeza. Sir, you have the floor. If you have joined us, please proceed. Thank you. We're waiting on Dr. Omeza to join us. Back end, can we do a one-on-one? And see if Dr. Omeza is on the call. Okay, we're getting some information about Dr. Omeza. He's probably going to be late in joining us. Okay. Can I see what that note is again, back end, please? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. While reading the citation, I noticed the question coming from Ikechukwu Ibokwe. Can we see that, please? Thank you, Professor NM. How this? Okay. Many thanks to Prof for the knowledge field lectures. We'll be glad if the slides will be shared. Definitely the slides will be shared once the meeting is over, and our thank you note is going to your emails. Yes, he did give us a very detailed lecture right there. Okay. Okay, so we'll now call on CEO Farmalat, Dr. Femi Kayode, for a brief word, and then he'll guide us on how to proceed. We have experts that are in the chat room that are participating also, who will be able to help us to further add some robustness to what we have learned today. So this will be an open discussion and interaction with contributions. So every one of us what they know, what they feel about the discussed topic, while Dr. Femi Kayode, if he's in a space where he can speak with us, can just come on and guide us through. We have seniors and we have other experts on this that are available on this platform. So they'll be able to just further add some robustness to what Prof has taught us. Dr. Kayode Femi, please, can you join us, sir? Thank you. Back end, do send a notification. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Grace. I will prefer we probably get opinions from people who are on the call. I believe we have other professionals who can add their voice to the discussion. Yes. So they could just kindly raise up their hands and we could take it up from there.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So as many of us who are available on the call and can add the contributions, please indicate by raise of hand, and then we'll let you speak so you could expand our knowledge further based on what we have heard and what we have learned. I can see quite some. Okay, is someone raising hand there? Yes, please unmute. Back end, we have Dr. Monday. Can we unmute him so he can? he can contribute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Grace, for allowing me to speak. Honestly, when I saw the topic to be talked about and the crop of professionals you brought in, I am not in public health, but of course, everything is about public health. Whatever you do, if you're in engineering, if you're an architect, whatever you are, it's all about public health. Yeah, while Professor Enem was making his presentation, he talked about unhealthy interactions between man and animal. Of course, even though he mentioned the environment along the line, that is correct. Because when we talk about disease, we have man himself, we have the animals. Of course, diseases can move either way. And we also have the environment that harbors the microbes. So there's a triangle, if you may, of disease: man, animal, and the environment. And how do we acquire this, whether emerging or re-emerging diseases, as Professor Enem has put it, is that it is interaction between these three. And of course, he mentioned unhealthy interaction. And I want to put it this way, that when we talk about unhealthiness in any interaction, it's not about the animals. The animals live their natural life. It's not about the environment. The environment is a constant. It's about man, anthropogenic activities. It is man that pull down trees. It is man that go into the wildlife and eat all sorts of animals, okay? I have heard of cockroach meals, of course, and of course, when you hear of such things, you keep wondering. So the culprit, this is the point I'm trying to make, then I go to the next point. The culprit from his presentation, as I understand, is man. And of course, as humans, we need to moderate our behaviors. We need to be careful how we handle our environment, how we interact generally with the environment. It is dry season now. And this point I'm making is about my country, Nigeria. It is dry season. And as you go out, you see people burning bushes. What are they looking for? Rats, the African giant rat. You are distorting that ecosystem. You are degrading the environment. You are killing beneficial microbes. And of course, you are exposing humans to these microbes. Now, there's something he talked about also that I wanted to ask. At the time, Professor Enem started by talking about emerging and re-emerging diseases. And suddenly, it turned out to be emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. And that struck me. And I asked myself, when we talk about diseases, or when we talk about emerging and re-emerging diseases, is it restricted to microbial infections alone? Because 30, 40 years ago, we never heard of, what's it called? Fibroids. So what place has non-infectious diseases in this whole discussion that we're talking about? I wanted him to clarify that. Also, when we give this kind of lectures, of course, initially when you introduced him, you talked about audience from international committees. They may be here, but you know that there are socio-cultural issues that I don't know. If you talk about it elsewhere, it will be offensive. I'll give an example. Professor Enem talked about inappropriate sexual behavior, and I know he means the LGBTQ. And of course, we know the international politics vis-a-vis that. He also confronted bestiality. We also know the international politics vis-a-vis those issues. Of course, in some countries, it's like an offense to profile in
We have a network glitch there with
individuals that are, but in our culture, of course, my worry these things. Can you hear me? Can
yes,
you hear
sir.
me?
Please proceed,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now. Although your network seems unstable, sir.
Yeah, somebody is trying to call my line and I'm struggling to stop him. So I really wanted him to clarify that, because it is not, I don't know how I wish he's here, but let me try to round up. When he was talking about challenges to controlling emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, he talked about lack of coordination between health workers. This, I feel that this is restricted to Nigeria and some parts of Africa alone, because when you go to the Western world, developed and civilized nation, One Health is not an issue. You don't see doctors seeing themselves, or veterinarians seeing themselves as kings in veterinary teaching hospitals, or the human medics seeing themselves as in charge of hospitals. Nobody looks down on the technicians or the medical lab scientists. Nobody looks down on other health workers. Nobody looks down on the cleaners. So One Health practice should be all-encompassing, so that I shouldn't look at myself as one professional more important than the other. We should be very careful about this. And we shouldn't bring politics. We shouldn't politicize One Health. And it is a major problem in Nigeria, politicizing of the One Health concept. And lastly, I wanted to ask this. This is my last comment, and it's a question. Seasonally, there are migratory invasive species, such as some birds moving from northern pole down to other areas. What are their contributions to these emerging and re-emerging diseases that we talked about? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monday. We'll take note of the questions. Dr. Omeza has joined us now. So, sir, please, if your audio is intact, you have the floor. We've read your citation. We have introduced you. And please take on the lecture from where we stopped. Thank you, sir. Please proceed with your lecture, sir. Dr. Omeza, you have the floor, sir.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can, sir. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, the network has been very bad. Just been struggling to join. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
It is my pleasure to be with Farmalert and colleagues on this platform. Thank you. I don't know. I know time has gone. Let me quickly present the paper before me. I am Omeza Gabriel, as already known, from the Department of Veterinary Public Health and Preventive Medicine, University of Abuja. And I would like to speak briefly on emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, especially as it ravages threats to public health and global health security. My Dean has actually done some recap. Because of time, I may not want to go there. I just want to let us know briefly what emerging infectious diseases entails. He had actually said it's a sort of recently reappearing or appearing new diseases in a population. And this could be in the form of showing increases in the incidence of the disease, or extending to new geographic range. Emerging infectious disease may also imply identification of new pathogens and whose incidences have been on the increase for the past 2 decades. And this is very important. I want to say at this point that emerging diseases had been with us. I think problems just being that the manner of identification of these agents had been a very serious problem. And that's why it continues to cause public health threats. Whenever it appears, it becomes a new thing. And secondly, just because of our probably the level of preparedness and the research in this area, especially in countries where research is not properly funded, we are found to be seeing things like this. Okay. Please, in the next slide. Re-emerging infectious disease, on the other hand, may imply that these diseases had already been known, but now reappearing in a different form.
We have lost audio with Dr. Meza there. Back end, please indicate to him, because he may not be aware that he is not connecting with us at the moment. Okay, please give us a couple of minutes. Let's connect with Doctor and establish his position. And we'll be back shortly, hopefully, with better audio. Dr. Sai, if you can hear us, we've lost you here. We don't have audio from you. If you can hear me. Okay. Okay, so let's give it a little while and see if he rejoins us. Media, help us to indicate when he rejoins us. We got another question while rounding up Dr. Monday's question at that time. He asked about the place of migratory birds. So if there's anyone on the group who can respond to that, please indicate by a raise of hand while we wait for Dr. Gabriel to rejoin. What is the place of migratory birds in re-emerging infectious diseases? Anyone with an idea? Amongst the participants, anyone with an idea? We have experts on the floor, so I believe we have someone who can give us a guide. Back in, can we see the charts from the very beginning? There are some questions that probably slipped in. Thank you. From the top, please. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Diagnosis, problem diagnosis. What's the role of poor laboratory infrastructure and the problems caused by diagnostics where our discussion is concerned. So if we have people with knowledge on that also, please prepare to contribute, raise your hands, or leave us a chat in the box. It's a very important and interesting topic, so it will be good if we're in discussion mode, so that when we have timeouts like this, we can discuss properly. Okay, we have a raise of hand. Dr. Ikechukwu Igbokwe, can he be unmuted so that?
Okay, I've already unmuted myself.
Dr. Ikechukwu, sir,
I've
if you've been
myself.
unmuted, please proceed to contribute.
Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
I believe you're unmuted. Except if you also have a network glitch.
We can hear you, sir.
If you can hear me, please,
Can you see his mute button? Okay, please unmute him if backend can hear us. Ikechukwu Igbokwe is raising his hand and he needs to be unmuted. Are we there now?
Hello, moderator.
They're asking me to stop my video because I don't want to jump.
His hand is still up. He needs to be unmuted. You have the floor, sir, for your contribution.
Are you hearing me now? I'm unmuted, but I can't get myself heard. I don't think you are hearing me.
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Yes. What I wanted to say about
Dr. Monday has spoken already, so we want to give room for a participant who is yet to speak. We would also like to know a little bit more about, from the professionals who are into communication, what our role should be, awareness related role with what we're discussing today. So we'll be calling up our skilled personnel that are into communications and media to also contribute. Okay, while Dr. Ikechukwu Igbokwe is stabilizing, can we have Dr.
It's like the moderator doesn't hear me.
She's still on the call, please, so she can shed some light on what we're discussing as far as her field and sphere is concerned. That would also help us. Dr. Inyama, are you on the call, ma'am? And are you in a position to speak? I don't know if participants can hear me, but I think there is a small glitch and we're working on it. Dr. Ikechukwu has been online and has been speaking. Okay, she's muted. Okay, keep talking, sir, because we're working on the audio. If you can hear me, Dr. Ikechukwu.
Okay, if you can hear me now, they are requesting for my video to be on, but I'm asking for my video to be off. If it will enhance the network situation here. If you are hearing me, can I continue?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Please proceed, sir. Thank you for your patience, sir.
Yes, I was the person who asked the question about the laboratory infrastructure.
Yes, sir, I saw that.
you will agree with me that it's one of the greatest problems we have in Nigeria. Poor laboratory infrastructure, very expensive diagnostics, and for us to be at the top of our game, we should be able to pick out these re-emerging diseases at any particular time it emerges. What it means is that we should be able to diagnose and know that this threat has emerged and then be able to do something about it. But it looks like we are not very good or well prepared for that kind of emergency. And that is why there is a need for a strategic plan to be on the ground, especially from the point of view of what the veterinary services should be doing. An awareness needs to be created about what the diagnostic protocols of some of those diseases that are rare should be, even in our training programs in the veterinary schools, what the case definitions are and what specimens need to be collected, and at the particular time it should be collected, where it could be sent if we are not able to have diagnosis done in our respective states or practice centers. So these are the things that we should know the reporting system. There should be an awareness on what the reporting system should be, how samples should be sent, where it should be sent, and to whom it will be sent. So these are areas of awareness that we should drive at very aggressively and get ourselves well prepared for what needs to be done. I recall that during the time of avian influenza, it was a very senior veterinarian that was able to identify the problem syndromically because he is aware of it, he is well trained, and he collected a sample and said this is not a common disease, and he collected the samples and sent them I think to MVRI. From MVRI they sent the samples abroad, and it was confirmed, and then things started unfolding. So how well can we still do this? How many veterinarians can identify, even syndromically, most of the diseases that are emerging threats? Are we able to do those things? So we need to be on top of it when it comes to our training programs, creating awareness and being able to get things done when a challenge emerges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We're very grateful for your input, and pardon me if I got your title wrong, sir, because it's likely that was Professor Ikechukwu Igbokwe, so I'm sorry about that. We're very grateful, and indeed all that you have highlighted are very important. It is not an unknown fact to us in the community, the issue of diagnostics and where we are at. We probably are not ready for real emergencies when they arise, and it's something that should be addressed. I believe that when the resolutions are being drafted after this meeting, it is something that will be indicated as key and will be put forward, especially in collaboration with our research institutes, and as you have said, sir, also at the level of our training, so that we can factor in all of the loopholes and to solve the problems that arise with diagnostics. Thank you so much, sir, for that input. Would like to know if anyone else wants to further broaden what we're learning and to add to us and to add to all that we have obtained. Also, can back end check with Dr. Gabriel Omeza if he managed to come back on the call. If he has not been able to come back on the call in 10 minutes, we'll continue with the discussions and we'll move to the poll quiz. so that the program can proceed. How veterinarians can be better prepared for our topic should issues arise. I do not know if Dr. Inya is back on the call or if she's on the call. If she's not, please let's check again for other raise of hands. Before we proceed. Okay. Is Dr. Monday still on the call? Dr. Monday wanted to make an addition.
Yes, yes,
okay.
Dr.
Okay,
Gloria,
okay.
I'm here. Yes, I really appreciate.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I appreciate Professor Ibukwe's contribution. I'm trying to comment on what he commented on about the role of diagnostic tools in diagnosis of emerging and re-emerging diseases. Of course, in diagnosis, there are two things. He has talked about one, that is human capacity development. Of course, it is one thing for me to be a veterinarian, to know the clinical signs. But just as he said, we know that clinical signs, well, some are pathognomonic to certain diseases, but fever, for instance, you can have 20, 30 different infections that present as febrile infections. Therefore, we must hammer on provision of funding for diagnostic facilities. As a clinician, I have made diagnoses. I want to collect blood samples. I don't have a syringe. How do I do that? I have made my diagnosis. I want to inject penicillins parenterally. There is no syringe. How do I do that? I want to collect, I want to carry out a bacterial culture or a viral culture or whatever, or a fungal culture. I don't have Petri dishes. How do I do that? What I'm saying is this. If you go to our teaching hospitals, whether veterinary or human teaching hospitals in Nigeria, it causes for lamentation. And as a country, we are bigger than that. And we don't expect the citizens to do this funding and provide equipment. We expect government to fund because these are government institutions. If you go to our veterinary training center or our universities, for instance, Professor Ibukwe was talking about human capacity building. How do you build human capacity when you don't have those equipment? And of course, one of the participants have highlighted that already. Even Professor NM talked about it. How do you train without training facilities? Our government, the point I'm making is that government needs to wake up to its responsibilities so that we can move forward as a nation. How come in Nigeria we are incapacitated? And when our people go outside these shores, it's like they perform magic or they perform miracles. It's the same people, different environment. Thank you, Dr. Gloria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monday. Your contributions are well noted. We agree that there is really need for funding, and the higher ups need to be more involved than they already are. There are efforts being made, but more can be made. Thank you very much for this. Media room, I don't know if you can bring up the polls. Meanwhile, still check through our inputs, discussions and chats to see if any recent contributions or indications for same have come through. Okay, thank you. We cannot see any of that. There's so much chats in gratitude to to Prof for his presentation. It is very detailed. I believe that we'll enjoy studying the slides. When you get the slides from this presentation, you would also get Dr. Omeza's lecture, most definitely. So what he was unable to present to us due to network glitches, you would also have access to, and then you can do more studying. The interactions and the resolutions from this program do not end here. We have our different communities where we interact on social media, and how we connect with other veterinarians so we can continue the discussions and find solutions to all that are problems from what we have discussed today. Okay, so we'll take the poll quiz now, since there aren't any more questions and answers, and let's see where we go. I'm very convinced that we can see things in a better light now after what we have learned. So let's make an attempt on the poll quiz and see. Definition of emerging infectious diseases. What are the contributing factors to the emergence of the same? There are 3 more questions. So you select which one is considered an emerging infectious disease from that lineup. Before we go off, we'll check again to be sure that we didn't leave anybody's comment out or we didn't skip a raised hand. What are emerging infectious diseases? And then now you can narrow down the strategies from what we have learned and make your selection. Your participation is important. It will let us know the level of engagement. It would also let us know how much we have gained and what to do further on this topic in the future. So please engage and participate. And we'll take note of all of that. Okay. So I'm sure the poll is...
Hello?
Okay, so speaking, yes, sir. Okay. Dr. Gabriel, sir. I think Dr. Gabriel is back on the call. Can we have him back end? We still have some time on the meeting. You're up, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry, I had to just relocate.
Wow. Okay, sir, we can proceed from where you stopped, sir. Are you still on the call, sir? Today's networks are really tough and unfriendly and from many angles. Sorry about that. Our participants have been very patient today. Doctor, sir, you've gone off the call. I think it's a widespread network issue. where you are at. Media room, indicate for us the best advice. So while we wait, let us take the next item on the agenda after the post quiz. Back end, can we go there? Okay, so Farmalat now serves as a private CE provider to the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. The steps are here, especially for those of us who are on this call for the first time, so that we can get our CE points for this meeting. Tecla sessions are free, but a token of this amount stated here is to be paid to the details that are there, and it helps us to get accredited certificates for this meeting from the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. Follow the instructions on your screen. There's a message there. You can take a screenshot quickly so that you can have the WhatsApp number with which you put your details as you want them indicated on the certificate, and within 48 hours at the most, you'll have your certificate delivered to you in WhatsApp or your email. So we encourage you to do this. Okay, yes, definitely to email addresses. We're seeing that from Dr. Samira Farouk. She would prefer that in an email address. We'll take note of that, thank you. Okay, what other topics would you want us to address? Most of the interactions we have here come from you, our participants. Your knowledge base is important to us. It's good we rub minds together, so we get most of our topics from you. We would like you to leave all of those in the chat box before the meeting closes so that we can pick on them and then select the next topic. Note that this is the last Tecla session for this year, 2024. We'll be resuming very strong and with very good informative sessions in January by the grace of God. So please feel free to leave in the chat box or contact us through our social media handles where there are messaging outlets so that we can get your topics as they come to you. And if you're unable to comment now, you have social media interaction spaces for Farmalat as another means of communicating. So follow us on those platforms. There is the YouTube, there's LinkedIn, very vibrant and very busy. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, and you can just go on Google and say farmalat.com.ng and you'll find Farmalat there, and you can better interact and get more information. We really have had an impactful session. I'll encourage all of us to look out for the slides from this meeting and study individually so that we can gain more and take down our resolutions and move forward with them in our different spheres and improve the situation with the topic for the day. Thank you very much for being on this call. Yes, we're seeing messages coming. We're taking note of them. As soon as we get to hear from you also on the WhatsApp, we will proceed, Dr. Timothy, sir. Okay. So up next. Okay. Thank you so much for joining this meeting. It was really, really, really good of you to stay with us despite the network glitches. We're grateful for your time. We wish you a very happy year end and a nice wrap up of 2024. And we're looking forward to seeing you again in our next class session. Be safe and God bless. Thank you.